Hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the Silva/Mendota/Homewood video, aka everything I did on April 25th, 2026. Now, as I explained in the previous video, I wasn't planning to make any stops on the way from LaPorte all the way to Silvis. However, as I was traveling south of Mendota, I decided to look at heritage units on a whim to see if any units had moved in the area around Silvis that I could potentially catch tonight or tomorrow night. There weren't. But when I looked directly above us on the route, well...
Oh my god! Bro, I just looked at heritage units, and in Mendota, the pill was stopped at the Amtrak station 2 hours ago. Please let it still be there. We are making a 20-minute detour north to try and see it off of I-80. Please let it still be there. Look, there's the sign. It should say Mendota. Yep, Mendota, 12 miles. If it's still there. There's the sign. Amtrak. Come on. There it is! It's right there!
When I actually got into the Mendota Amtrak station, I was shocked. Not just because the pill was actually still here and parked in a great spot for photos, but also because Mendota has a railroad museum. I had absolutely no idea. I barely knew anything about Mendota before accidentally ending up in it, so I was very shocked to see these preserved coaches here. And of course, as I was making it to the station, I heard a train come in on the main line. I couldn't make it to the fence in time to actually film, but my dad did. And I'm glad he did, because trailing second was a Thunder Cab. After that, I was finally able to grab my pill shots, and man, am I glad it was parked where it was. This was the perfect spot for photos. Not only was it just across from the Amtrak station, but there was also this little island platform thingy to let you step out in case an Amtrak ran on the line farther away, and I was able to stand on that to get up-close photos of it. I took a lot of photos, like 40, and there were very, very few that didn't come out blurry because of the lighting condition. But don't worry, I will amend that later. And behind it was a somewhat rare BNSF GP25. It's wearing the H4 scheme, but it looks pretty snazzy in it. Like this class of engines, wish it didn't have all that junk on top of the cab. After taking a look at the two stopped Jeeps, I went and got some photos of the CB&Q steam engine, which is an 01A number 4978. Or at least I tried to. My camera hates darkness, so it wouldn't let me take very many photos. Again, I'll amend that later. These were the reasons why I wanted to come back to Mendota. Yeah, I came back. You'll see that in a bit. Anyways, after that, I started hearing horns, and it became apparent that a westbound was coming. So I decided to stick around for it. And that westbound was definitely worth it because it had an H2-9 liter with a very funky horn. After that, I started to realize that this tiny town I had never heard of was one of the best rail fanning locations in the entire state of Illinois. How crazy is that? Either way, the light was fading and I knew I couldn't stay for very much longer, even though I definitely wanted to. However, as we were leaving, or at least preparing to leave, we noticed many cars parked in the parking lot with people standing outside, and that could only mean one thing: an Amtrak was coming. I asked the people and they said they were there for the Illinois Zephyr, and I knew it had to be close. When I checked ASM, it was going to approach Mendota very soon. So I set up on the platform, and sure enough, after about 5 minutes of waiting, it appeared, with a boring SC-44 in the lead. I then ran up to the front of the train and set my camera on the ground for a low shot, and as a side effect of that, I was able to wave to the engineer, and thus I got an awesome horn salute as the train departed. Probably one of the best horn salutes I've ever gotten. Amtrak engineers are always the best. And then on our way out, we discovered this thing. Yep, your eyes do not deceive you. That is an original Great Northern Big Sky Blue woodchip hopper with the original name, reporting marks, and logo still intact. To put into perspective how insane this thing is, GN was the railroad that existed before BNSF. This hopper car is over 55 years old and has survived multiple mega mergers. The FRA mandates that rolling stock can only serve on the main line for 50 years before it has to be retired or rebuilt. This hopper has only managed to survive to today since it's been used in MAU service. And behind it was another car it's sometimes paired with in MAU trains, a former Santa Fe coal hopper. With it now getting super late, we had to hit the road, and we made our final 1 hour and 30-minute drive towards Silvis and got our hotel in Geneseo at around 10 p.m. It was late, we were tired, so we took showers and immediately went to bed. The next day, after we finished up everything we needed to see at Silvis Train Day, we got back on the road and headed back east. We made the decision to stop in Mendota again on the return journey for a couple reasons. 1, to go into the museum, 2, to see more stuff on the main line, and 3, to get daylight pill shots. And so, we once again stopped in Mendota and quickly got into the museum. The guy who showed us around the museum was very nice, and so we got to see a lot more than we usually would, and he gave us a lot of awesome tips about the history of the museum, the engines that were inside it, the model railways, the other exhibits, etc. He was a very fun guy to talk to and made the experience at the museum very enjoyable. Definitely recommend going if you're ever in the area. The model layout is pretty impressive. Definitely not as impressive as the one I saw earlier that day in Silvis, but it's still good. The large CB&Q model display is also very nice, considering that this was a former CB&Q mainline. I really like this roundhouse. Hope to have something like this on my layout one day. And underneath the layout, there were small mini layouts embedded into the supports, which were really cool. They also had loads and loads of shelves bolted to the walls with model displays. In the main room of the museum, there was this old 15-inch gauge 440, which has been decommissioned. This Lionel 3-rail O-scale layout with a CB&Q yard goat for power. A 15-inch gauge caboose that was used in a parade, plinth on top of a speeder. An old signal that was used in Mendota during the CB&Q days. And most interestingly, the old cab of 4978, the steam engine that's displayed outside. When they got this cab was just laying inside the current one. It had been replaced before it had been donated to them, so they decided to take the old cab and hang it on the wall. Quite nifty if I do say so myself. After that, we got a tour inside the coaches, also from that same guy. Once again, he provided us more tidbits about the history of the coaches. The first one we went into was that old Milwaukee Road combination car. It was half passenger car and half baggage car. It even had a stove for heating, which was inside. The mail racks were quite impressive. The seats were sadly covered up as they didn't want them to get hurt by people sitting on them, as this is the only one we were allowed to sit in the seats. The second coach was a very nicely decorated Southern Pacific Cafe car. Seriously, this is the nicest coach I've ever been, and I wish Amtrak was this good. It even had a fully functioning kitchen. Would you look at that? While inside this coach, I grabbed my first new shot of the pill outside the window. I'm probably the first person in history to get pictures of this unit looking out this coach, and I'm proud of that. Anyways, as I was doing that, I heard a horn. So I had to cut my interior coach tour short and run out the outside across the parking lot and into the Amtrak station before the westbound BNSF manifest appeared with, Gevos. Despite the boring power, this train was still awesome because in the middle it had a damaged CSX gondola being carried on a flat car. First time I've ever seen that. Oh, and also, as the end of the train was nearing, I heard more horns. Yep, I got blocked, and the train that got blocked was actually really good because it had another H2-9 leader with an ace trailing. Man, that sucked. With the trains gone, I rejoined with my dad and the museum guy, and we headed for the final part of our tour, looking inside the caboose and steam locomotive. The caboose was first. It was very nicely restored inside, and also the guy told me not to tell anyone that there's electrical outlets in the inside, and I probably shouldn't be saying that because he was a really nice guy, but he said it in a funny way, so I'm going to pass it on because I also think it's funny. Anyways, after that, we climbed around and into the steam locomotive. There's steps, which makes it very convenient. I got a nice picture of the Burlington route logo. Quite a nice logo. That red was later used on diesels, and man, they looked good. But today isn't diesel time, it's steam time. I've seen another one of these 01As before at the Illinois Railway Museum, but that one is in much worse condition. This is one of the best restored steam locomotives I've ever seen. It isn't 100% spotless or anything, but the cab was certainly something to behold, because it was painted green. According to our museum tour guide, the Q always painted the insides of their steam engine cabs either green or gray. He wanted to go with the gray because he thought it looked less ridiculous, but when they got the engine, traces of the green paint were discovered inside the rusted cab, so they had to go with green, much to his displeasure. After our very nice cab tour, I got down and walked around the engine for some more shots. Oh, and there was also a bunny hiding underneath it. Nice shade under there, right? Once I walked around it, I was able to grab some very, very nice roster shots in the midday sun of the 4978. The locomotive is restored beautifully. It's 100% accurate, as far as I know, and it looks awesome. Huge props to the people here at the museum who repainted it and keep it upkept. I also got some outside roster shots of the caboose, which are far better than the one I got last time I was here in the middle of the night. Nice that this wooden caboose is still around and in such good condition. After that, with my museum tour complete, I walked back over to the platform to get more pill shots. There's a lot more that I'm showing in the video that weren't blurry this time, but I'm not going to show all of them because that would get boring. This locomotive is awesome, but how many pictures of it can you really see before you're getting bored? I bet you're getting bored right now. Don't you dare click off the video. Don't you dare. Yeah, I called you out. Yeah, you think I'm not I lost my train of thought. Anyway, speaking of trains, the only reason we were really sticking around at this point was for the Amtrak California Zephyr, which was coming in eastbound. Since it's a long-distance train that uses mostly superliners, I was crossing my fingers that it would be P42DCs. And I was right. It was 2 P42DCs, both in Phase 5. Awesome. My only other planned stop on the way home was the CN Yard in Homewood. But as I was looking at heritage units while we were driving through Southside Chicago, I noticed that someone had reported not 1, not 2, but 3 Death Stars parked in CN's Joliet Yard. The Death Stars are often stationed here as yard power and waiting for their turns on locals, so I'm not shocked that there were 3 here, but it wasn't an opportunity I was going to pass up on, especially with how accessible the locomotive sidings here are. Not to mention, there was a bonus repainted SD70 with them, which made for some cool photos. After that, we finally made it to Homewood after a lot of anticipation, and I was even more excited than ever, because I had heard that CN 2026, one of the 2 America 250 units, was parked in the yard and was currently switching. Although it was out of view at the moment, I was confident it would come out and I would get to see it. However, the first train that came out of the yard wasn't the 2026. It was a light power movement with an unrebuilt SD75M, a GEVO, and an air car. Despite not being what I was looking for, it was still awesome. The SD75Ms are some of the very few engines left that wear the original CN scheme without the logo. Not to mention they're being rebuilt. Personally, I think the rebuilds look better just because the paint is newer, there's no discernible visual difference, but it's still cool. The purpose of this move was just to get the engines onto a different track, so once that was accomplished, they reversed back into the depths of Homewood Yard. As soon as that yard movement disappeared, an Amtrak appeared in the distance. Homewood was really putting on a good show today. All the previous times I've been here, it was almost dead. After the Amtrak passed, the number of other railfans on the platform continued to grow as we all anticipated the arrival of 2026. However, this random manifest had to come by first, and I'm very glad it did because in the lead was a very fresh and very awesome looking SD75 IACC rebuild. Beautiful. The action simply refused to calm down as a Metro electric train showed up only a few minutes later.
I'm not very sure from well,
Shortly after, we saw the lights of another through manifest approaching. Ordinarily, it would have been awesome because I had an SD70M-2 Duo back-to-back. The key word there, though, is ordinarily, because right after it came into view, this happened.
Dude, where's... I'm gonna say it. Go!
Is that the 2026?
I think so.
I see.
Or is that a car? Or is that a car?
I see it. It's the 2026!
There's no green fella. There's no green light for it. There's no green light. It can't pass. Sure.
Yep, that's correct. Not only did the unit stop so it didn't get blocked, but it was now stopped directly in front of us at the Amtrak station. Needless to say, we all grabbed our photo cameras and started taking stills like crazy. And it wouldn't be too long before it got the light and prepared to depart. Of course, because it was only a single engine pulling a long train, it struggled really hard. But at least it gave me a good look at this very, very awesome paint scheme. This is definitely my favorite America 250 unit as of yet. But as I said, eventually it did get clearance and it left on its way down south to New Orleans. I hope I see this unit again one day, but with how little I see CN, it's remarkable I saw it at all. So I'm very happy with what I got on this day.
Good.
report of the 2026 we got earlier, there was also a report that 1776 was sitting in the yard by the shops, so we went poking around to see if we could find it. We first started at our Maple Avenue pull-off spot where we found CN 2124 and Wisconsin Central 3010, the two resident training units here in Homewood, along with this random North America Scheme SD40-2 that was also parked here, and a Thundercab SD70M-2 over in the deadline. After that, we headed along the side of the shops. We didn't find the 1776, but we did find a lot of cool power, including more SD70M-2s, 2 Death Stars, a Grand Trunk unit, and even a BC Blueberry hiding in the middle of the shops.
Two parked over there. There's that. There's a grain hopper. There's a yard movement moving behind it. There's another SD70M-2 parked. 8909 and
8882.
the SD70M-2's up there. So backward. Safety inspection box car. Did I miss him? I think I missed him. Zoom, 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 zoom.
And with that, we left Homewood, and this absolutely insane day of rail fanning was over. To call this day a success would be a monumental understatement. This was absolutely insane. From the pill, to the 2026, to the insane Homewood Yard power, to the CNEMD leaders, to the BNSF trains, to the Amtraks, and even the Great Northern Hopper. I mean, that was probably the rarest thing I saw on this day, let's be honest. This was so crazy, I wouldn't hesitate to call it my greatest rail fanning day ever. And this video only covers the non-Silvis stuff. If you want to see all the crazy stuff I saw there, go watch part 1. But hey, you probably already have if you're watching this. Anyways, enough yapping about how good this day was. I know I made someone jealous, and I'm going to get mean comments after this. Man, I need to stop commenting about my YouTube channel. Why is every single one of my videos ending with some sarcastic, weird comment that's not related to the video? Whatever. See you in the next one. Make sure to catch those units while you can, especially the patriotic ones, and I will see you in the next video.